Hello, I'm Dave Dietz, host of Cold Coffee and Stale Donuts, where we take a few minutes to learn about our incredible staff here at Ritter Insurance Marketing. Welcome to what will be my last episode of Cold Coffee and Stale Donuts. I want to first start off by thanking everybody who has taken and watched our Cold Coffee Stale Donuts episodes. This will be our last episode of season 1. And moving forward, my counterpart, April Ford, will take over. And the reason for that is I will be retiring on June 1st this year. So what we thought, or what April thought a good last episode would be for her to interview me on my way out the door. So once again, I want to thank everyone who watches our show, and hopefully, from what I hear from April, season 2 will even be bigger and better than what we started out with season 1. So with that said, I will now be the interviewee, and April, take it away. You can start your interview.
All right. Well, Dave, you usually ask people what they do here at Ritter, but that seems a little silly considering you only have a handful of days left. So what I'd love for you to do is, can you just touch on some of your favorite things? What are you going to miss most about retirement and not coming in to see my smiley face every day? Because I know that's the most important, of course.
Well, I think you touched on it. So my favorite part about coming to work is the people. I love working with the people. I love talking to the people. I think if anyone knows me, if you get in a conversation with me, I will explain it 3 different ways. I always joked if I learned a foreign language, I could explain it in a foreign language as well. But I love our staff. By the way, my position still for another 2 weeks is Chief Sales and Marketing Officer. I've worked here for a little over 20 years. There's a little break in there. So I think officially I've got 22 years in. And it's just been an incredible journey from day one. I remember, it's a story I tell a lot. One of the early days when Craig and I got together after him and Cal hired me, he called me in the office. He said, "Hey, someday we may be able to build a storefront where we could sell insurance directly to consumers." And that was 25 years ago, 24 years ago. And to see where we've brought this company from that time, we've done far more than just open up a storefront. But it was a great ambition back then. At that time, we were still part of our former partner, URL, and we were their senior care division. And I can see where that would make a lot of sense. The second story I like to tell is April's first week when I hired her. By the way, she's the first employee that I hired. We went and met with Craig, and Craig set some goals for us for our first year. And our first year goals were to bring in 500 contracts. Not 500 agents, but 500 contracts. And we now have certainly weeks, but we probably have a day or 2 each year that we bring in close to 500 contracts in one day. So I think our number last year was well over 25 to 30,000 total contracts that we brought in. So we went from that back in 2003, 2004 to where we are today. So, but my answer to your initial question is, I love our staff. I love all the people that we work with. I've been very blessed to be able to work with Craig and Scott as partners here. And then, my first hire, April, I remember when I interviewed her shortly after that, she said, "Well, I'm just looking for kind of a in-between job, and who knew that 20-some years later she would still be here, and fortunately taking over my role once I leave.
Yeah, it's definitely been a ride for sure. So on the flip side of that, now that you are going to be retiring, and you're still quite a young man from what I understand compared to retirement age, how are you going to fill your time? What are you looking forward to the most?
So I have a lot of travel plans, so I'm looking forward to traveling. I have a lot of to-do lists. So I just moved to a new house. So right now I have a garage full of boxes that I need to go through. And I think I'm going to work on a schedule. And, I've been on a schedule now probably since I started working back when I was 14 years old. And I'm going to work on a schedule and try to get up. The one thing I don't want to do for sure is become an avid TV watcher. Now, I have some big plans, like I'm going to lose weight and, I'm going to exercise. So we'll see. I just got a Peloton delivered to the house, and so we'll see if that works. But yeah, I'm going to enjoy it. I live on a lake, so I want to enjoy the lake, have friends out, and ironically, most of my friends come from work, so I'm still going to get to see a lot of people here.
Yeah, absolutely. So you mentioned a to-do list. Is that a honey to-do list? Tell me a little about your family.
I'm married to Rochelle. We're going on 3 years, so it's my second marriage. I have a daughter, Elena. She is working. She's teaching up in Boston, so she's been up there for 3 years. And no, my to-do list is more of my own. I guess I'm a bit of a hoarder. I don't like to throw stuff away. I always figure, well, hey, maybe someone can use it. But I have traveled, or some of the stuff I have in the new house has traveled 3 houses prior, and I think it's time to let some of it go.
Yeah, we always have those boxes you move and then never gets unpacked and just gets moved to the next house.
Well, and one thing I'll say is I know I've hired landscapers in the past, and they never do it the way I like it to be done. I pick every weed out with my fingers, and then I have my own little structure of how I do it, and they never do it as well as I like it. So the new house, there's a lot of weeds there, so I'm sure I'll be busy.
Yeah. Yeah. All right, so we're going to move on to one of your sections that were in all of your interviews. So we're going to talk about favorites right now. Right. So I'm going to ask you what some of your favorites are. So favorite sports team?
Philadelphia Flyers for the NHL, and then our local team in the AHL are the Hershey Bears.
Okay. Favorite food?
Pizza.
Favorite movie?
Rocky 1 and 2 are equally as good. I actually am one of those crazy ones that like all of them. I even like Rocky 5, even though most people don't like it. It was one of those movies that my dad and I back in the 70s when I was a little wee lad, he took me to the movie theater to see, and it's just always been my favorite.
All right. So when you're out pulling those weeds one by one, finger by finger, what type of music do you have in your headphones?
It's usually going to be 70s music, although I have grown to like opera of all things. I think why I like opera is I don't overthink. I'm just listening to the music, and I'm not singing along because it's in Italian. But my go-to is definitely 70s music.
Yeah. So on one of those cool nights, whenever you and Rochelle are just hanging out, looking at the lake, what's your favorite board game?
I love Scrabble because I contend that nobody can beat me in Scrabble. And it's not because I'm the greatest speller. I just understand the game. And, my tip to everyone is, for goodness sakes, don't ever do a 2-letter word on a triple word score. Ever.
All right. Now we know. You're on one of your trips that you were planning. Where are you stopping for fast food?
Well, I would say generally McDonald's. I really like McDonald's. The quarter pounder with cheese has been a staple of mine. However, if I run into a Hardee's, I am there all day long, twice on Sunday. I am addicted to their hot ham and cheese.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. All right. So next section that you used to do with everybody all the time is your this or that. So wine or beer?
Wine. Specifically Moscato. It's got to be a sweet wine.
Sweet. Absolutely. Roller coaster or merry-go-round?
Used to be roller coaster, but now is merry-go-round.
Doesn't getting old just stink?
Sometimes, yeah.
Yeah. Beach or lake?
Lake.
I would hope so.
You can see from my hat.
Spicy or sweet?
Sweet.
Dogs or cats?
I have 2 cats. Shout out to Casino and Sunny.
Book or movie?
I'm a movie. I love it whenever they write a book and turn it into a movie. Why read the book? I know the people who like to read books always say that the book was better, and I contend that the movie is always better.
That's because you can see the book in your mind.
Yeah, that's what they say.
I got one crazy one for you. Pepsi or Coke?
I like Coke.
All right.
And no matter where I'm at, I call it Coke, and they always look at me like, I've never thought there was a big difference between the two.
Yeah.
And I like Pepsi, like it's a little sweeter, but
Yeah.
every time I go to a restaurant, they say, what would you like to drink? No, I never looked at me. I'm like, I'll take a Coke. And they're like, Pepsi, okay? And I'm thinking, is there somebody that says no? I guess there is somebody who says, oh, no, I don't want the Pepsi. But no, I'm a Coke guy.
And, since you're leaving, just looking for like maybe 1 or 2 words of advice that maybe you'd give to the rest of the staff or anything like that to kind of close with here.
Whew. Well, that's a tough question. But, one of the things, and I think you've heard me say it many times over the years, and I probably should have waited till the last 2 weeks to give a formal explanation of what I mean by it. But, sometimes when we're having a busy day or a stressful day, I look at you and I'd say, at the end of the day, all we do is sell insurance. And I'm not saying that in the sense that insurance isn't important. Certainly it's important. One of the things that I've always, probably the one meeting where Craig probably just got me the most and impressed me the most was the meeting when he talked about how being an insurance agent is a noble profession, and how we hear these stories of agents that, made a mistake or did something wrong or even did fraud and abuse. But the vast majority of our agents, when they go into a client's house, they're looking to put them into the right plan that's for them. And they're there to take their calls when they have a question. They're there to help them and guide them the whole way through. And I always appreciated that because, April, as someone who did not graduate from college, when you graduate from high school and you're looking for what direction you're going to go at that point, personally, at that point, I did not ever think that I'd be a professional employee. Like I thought, I was cooking, I was working in a nursing home kitchen. And, I think my goal at that time was maybe I could be a manager or run it. And, we've come so far and I've had some lucky breaks. I'll also work very hard. So back to your original question. I wanted to bring that up because when Craig mentioned it, I just always thought that that's the way all of our agents should feel about what profession we're doing and how we're helping people. As far as giving advice, I go back to, don't take it so seriously. And that's really what I mean. What I mean by when I say, hey, all we do is sell insurance is, 95% of the time you can take a step back and think about the problem or think about the issue. It's not a life or death right away. Within 5 seconds, you have to make a decision. There are some of those kinds of things, I'm sure, in this business. So I'm not saying it never happens, but the vast majority, you could take a few seconds and come up with a solid answer and make sure that you can follow through. So the second thing that I would say to everyone, and I wake up every morning and when I come to work, I am with a group of people that I am excited to be around. I love learning. I still learn things. I'm always amazed at this industry, how I've been in it for 20 some years and an agent will throw us a question and we've never heard it before. And we search and we find the answer and try to help them out. So I just really think that when you come to work, you're here for 8 hours a day. If you work hard, you do your best, you keep trying to learn more, the sky is the limit. And that's always been my approach. When I started my first job, I was a dishwasher, and slowly but surely I moved up to becoming a manager of the kitchen. And then fortunately enough, I transferred over. The line from Cal Ritter was actually, if you can feed or if you can cook for seniors, you can certainly sell them insurance. And it was pretty true. So I've always been a believer, if you work hard and you keep trying to focus and learn more, that you really can go into, you can do anything that you're able to do. And I also want to point out, with April, when we hired April, I don't know that we thought that you were going to be our number 2 person in the sales and marketing team. At the time, we just was someone who was comfortable calling agents and asking them if they wanted to get contracted. So I love stories like that. We have a lot of staff. Much of our management team here came and worked their way up. It's always been one of those things that's been important to us. So that's what I would tell all the staff, that, hey, the sky's the limit, and just come in, work, give an honest day's work, and who knows where you'll be in 5 or 10 years.
That's some great advice. So I think I can say on behalf of all Ritter staff and all Ritter agents, thank you for everything that you have done for us over the past 20-something years with a little break in there. And, make sure you stay in touch. We'll miss you.
All right. Well, I will. I'll still be around.
And with that, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. Stay tuned. Keep your eyes out for season 2. That'll be rolling out soon. Really excited to take this over from Dave. I think we've got a great platform here, and excited to continue to bring you interviews with other Ritter staff. So we'll see you next time. Thanks.